One of, if not the most common questions that I get asked about All the Mods 10 is what is the strongest weapon? And I feel like this question sort of resonates even in vanilla Minecraft. Like there's always this chase where you want to be going after the strongest gear that you can possibly get. And All the Mods 9, the strongest weapon for a long time was the Morgan with a damage cap of 5 million damage per swing. It took forever to upgrade it to get it to that point. Eventually it was nerfed down to 5,000 damage per swing. And in All the Mods 10, it was nerfed to 60. It has been nerfed down to 60 damage per swing, which is less than even the Aldermodium alloy blade has. So that then begs the question, who's the new king in town? What is the strongest weapon you can get in All the Mods 10? The answer to that question is the Quantum Blade, and we're going to be making that in this video. We're going to talk through some of the prerequisites for it, talk through exactly how to make it, we're going to actually make it, and then we're going to use some of our enchantments and affixes to upgrade it all the way to get it as maxed out as we possibly can. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get into it. All right, so the first and probably most important thing worth mentioning is prerequisites. I would highly recommend, and more than recommend, you kind of have to go through pretty much the entire progression for modern industrialization before you get to this point. So if you haven't done everything for modern industrialization to get all the pieces for the star, I would start with that first because we're going to be using the same machines and processes for making the Quantum Blade that we did for MI. So when we look at the Quantum Blade itself, all we have to do to make it is put the Aldermodium alloy paxel and a quantum upgrade into an electric packer. That seems like an incredibly easy process. In order to get the quantum upgrade, it's just putting a couple different things into an assembler and it combines it all together. So what we're going to start with is we're going to start making some actual patterns for this. We'll go to our pattern encoding terminal. We're going to make the pattern for the quantum upgrade. And then it looks like for each of these upgrades, we have something we have to add as well. So in order to stay organized, I'm going to put the upgrades that go with each item where they go. So for quantum circuits, we have most of this built. We're going to need some cooling cells, it looks like. But the convenient thing is that most of this works going through an assembler. Now, the convenient part about this is because it's not related to the star, I don't actually have to make 18 like I would for anything that I'm trying to make like for the Starry Bee. Realistically, for now, I'm just going to make one of these since I'm just trying to make this quantum sword. So if I try to make one, we got to wait here and let it go through and calculate everything again, but we're getting a lot closer. So for the singularity, we're down to only needing like 14,000 coke dust. So all I'm going to do is sit here and accelerate these coke coal furnaces until we have enough and we can get that. Unfortunately, there's no coke bee, so I literally just have to accelerate each one of these and hope that they make dust quicker. All right, we finished speeding up all of the coke coal. So we have more than enough of that now. We should be able to craft the singularity. As you can see, it's using like 2.3 million items to craft this, so it's going to take a little bit. I'm probably going to accelerate all of the MI devices that are being used while we're creating this, because this is going to take quite a bit of time. But we're going to get it started. So just to give you an idea of what I'm doing, I'm watching all of these different items as they're crafting, and then I'm going around and finding the machines that are like actively being used to create something. And I'm just dramatically increasing the speed of those machines as much as I possibly can. All right, now from my understanding, from what we looked at earlier, this singularity, in order to be made into the quantum upgrade, needs to be put in an electrolyzer to make this UU matter. And that should be a pretty easy process overall. I do think that considering I'm going to want to make more of the quantum gear probably in the next video, that I will make enough of that matter to do all of these to make 5 quantum upgrades. So I have 1 for each piece of my armor and then also this sword that we're making. So total, that's going to be 250 millibuckets. And currently we have 19 with 1 set of acceleration. So that shouldn't be bad. We will need to create more singularities when I go to create the pieces of armor that we're looking at, but I'm not too worried about doing that. Once we get this quantum upgrade though, we can start looking at creating the Aldermodium alloy paxel, which is the next step. All right, so we finished it up. We now have 0.266 of the UU matter, which is enough to get all 5 eventual pieces of quantum gear that we want to have. I should be able to pull the singularity out now. In order to make these highly advanced upgrades, which I need 32 of, it's going to require me to have a ridiculous amount of materials. I'm going to AFK this for a while, and then eventually, probably tomorrow, we'll come back and be able to craft the 32 of these highly advanced upgrades. and finally be able to get that quantum upgrade that we're looking for. However, for now, what we can do is we can work on creating the alloy paxel, because in order to get this quantum sword, you have to combine the alloy paxel with the quantum upgrade in a packer. So we need to make the alloy paxel first. Now, in order to do this, it looks like we're going to need to make all of the other alloy weapons and tools, as well as 4 prisms. I know I already have the smelter prism, and combine it all in our Hephaestus forge. Now, the one thing that I have heard about this is if you try to make a tool or a weapon in the Hephaestus forge, it will completely wipe away any enchantments or fixes that you have added to that weapon. I'm sure at some point they will fix that, but currently that's where we're at. So because of that, what I'm going to look at doing instead is creating all brand new tools. We're going to create the quantum sword, and then once we have it, we'll put more enchantments and affixes onto it. So to get the Supremium Paxel, we first have to make the lower levels of Paxels. The Inferium one's gonna need an Inferium Axe, an Inferium Pickaxe, and an Inferium Shovel. Now this is gonna take quite a bit of auto crafting to actually work my way through all of these to get to the highest level, but I think auto crafting is probably the way to go. That way I can just set it all up and then at the end of it have what I need. So from my understanding, you get the tools all the way to the Supremium level, and then you combine those tools, you make your Supremium Paxel, and then the Supremium Paxel gets used at the Awakening altar to switch it into the Awakened Supremium one. Let's dump all of these in here and see if we can't auto-craft a Supremium Paxel. We're missing a Diamond Shovel and a Diamond Axe. So that should auto-craft it for us. And then from there, we're going to set up a pattern for the transformation here. We don't need any of the essences. We'll create that, add it to the pattern provider. Then while that's running, we can go ahead and swap out all of these and put our Darkstone pedestals back down. And then we're also going to need to make the rest of the alloy tools. So in order to do that, we're going to use a Hephaestus forge for all of them, but they have specific things that each one of them are going to need. Actually, it looks like creating all of them is exactly the same, which may make this a lot easier. So there's 4 of them total. Go ahead. Since our Supremium Paxel finished, we will make the Awakened Supremium Paxel. Should autocraft, should dump everything out here. And then we have our Awakened Supremium Paxel. Okay, so next we're looking at the alloy tools. So it looks like for each one of these, we're going to need 1 of each of the alloy ingots, and then also 1 of each of these dragon scales, along with 2 eternal stella. I've only got 1 eternal stella left, so I'll have to make a few more of those. So I'll need 8 total. Get that going, and we're also going to speed this up, because otherwise this tends to take a very, very long time. All right, so that should be the last of it. We've got all of our eternal stella we need. So next, I've got 3 of those, 4 of them. I need to make 4 of each of the other alloys real quick. Luckily though, I've got it all automated. So that should be relatively easy. All right, there's all of our alloy now. So we should just be looking at those dragon scales, I believe. The 3, the golden, the silver, and the aquatic dragon scales. I should just need 4 of each of them, and it looks like I have most of what I need to make some more diorium, but that's not a big issue. 4 of those, and then the aquatic. Okay, so I should have everything I need here. I just now need to make a full set of tools, because I'm not about to put mine through there. Okay, so we got all of our unobtainium tools that are going to go in the middle. Which means now, depending on how much we got left in, oh yeah, we're still basically full. We're going to go around and put all of this on the pedestals. Hopefully this is as easy as it seems. It is. There it is. All right, so that should be our alloy sword. Perfect. So next up, we're going to do the axe. One more time with that. Beat it up a touch. Grab it out. Okay, so we have all of the alloy tools now, which means To make that alloy paxel. Okay, so we've got the alloy paxel, all the tools. So that's 5 out of 9 potential things it could be. I think the last 4 are all the prisms, right? We get 1 of those. We need a whirlwind prism, which is phantom membrane, feather, white wool, and a bat wing. Yeah, that'll work. I hit that one. So that's 2 of their prisms. Prismarine shards, heart of the sea, lapis, and turtle. Hit it with a hammer. Accelerate it up because I'm impatient. 3 prisms. Para stomp prism. Dripstone, dripstone, flint, block of diamond. Put all of that on our hotbar. Diamond block goes in there. Dripstone, dripstone, flint, hammer, accelerate. And we should have all of our prisms now, which means theoretically I should be able to put that in there. We're going to drop all of these prisms down. And then put all of our tools out. Oh my goodness. There it is. Allthemodium alloy paxel. So that in and of itself is a pretty cool tool. Very, very strong weapon. However, once we're able to combine this with the quantum upgrade in the packer, we will have the quantum sword. So I'm going to finish AFKing this. Let all of our resources build back up from all the depletion we've done. All right, everybody, we're back. We were able to create the 32 highly advanced upgrades, which means we can throw those in here. And now, theoretically, we should be able to craft these quantum upgrades. Yeah, so everything's there and looks exactly like it should. It just isn't crafting. Okay, so I think I figured out what's going wrong. I think this shows that I have plus 1024 EU per tick upgrades. This thing shows that I need plus 1000 EU per tick of upgrades. So I think I need like a lot more upgrades before this starts working. I know the quantum upgrade provides 1000 million EU per tick. All right, so joke's on me. The advanced do 16, the highly advanced do 512 EU per tick. But even at 64 of those, that's not going to be even close to enough. So I think actually in order to be able to use the electric packer with a quantum upgrade and an alloy paxel, I have to have another quantum upgrade. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time, go through the whole process to make another one of these, just so that we can make our quantum sword. However, now that we have everything set up for that, it's going to be a lot more easy to create one of those, so I'm not as worried about it. All right, making another quantum upgrade was not nearly as easy as I thought it was. Took a little while, but here we are. We should be able to, like we were talking about, put the quantum upgrade in here, and then the packer should be able to use the 2 that are there to make our quantum sword. I can't tell if it's doing anything. All right, so this part is a little bit after the fact. I was going through to edit the video and I realized that there were a couple things that I did not explain well. And that is the need to upgrade the machine holes that we're using in order to create whatever we're trying to build. So like we showed with the electric packer there at the end, I realized that I had to have this quantum machine hole in order for it to work correctly and actually produce the quantum sword. In addition to that, in order to make the quantum upgrades inside the assembler, the reason it was just eating the supercharged cable or whatever it was is because we did not have that quantum machine hole in here. So make sure you upgrade your machine holes and it should save you a lot of time and trouble. I didn't explain it well because I was so frustrated and didn't understand what was going on because modern industrialization is just the worst. But I hope that helps you figure out exactly what you need to do. Also, just to show, a quantum machine hole is actually incredibly cheap and simple to make, like relative to the rest of the MI stuff that you have to build. The quantum machine hole is really not that bad. But yeah, back to it. Look at it. It's so pretty. So theoretically, this thing does an infinite amount of attack damage. Now, I'm very curious what exactly that means. Also, I'm very curious if I can put like affixes on it. Certainly looks like I can, which doesn't increase its attack damage at all, but could potentially add some awesome effects to it. 45% chance to hit up to 4 nearby enemies. I need a couple more sigils of rebirth. Throw some of those in there. We're gonna go with this top tier one, and then we're probably gonna do some upgrading on it. Infernal is fire damage. I don't care about that. I do want lengthy. Max that. Murderous, I could probably re-roll. I like cleaving. Caustic is great. Those sigils of enhancement I also need some more of. Murderous, I think I would like to re-roll, I think. But I don't need it to do more attack damage than an infinite amount of attack damage. But if it could kill more enemies at once, anything like that, I think I'm down for. Overheal, I'm fine with. Fire damage, let's re-roll. Crit chance, max it out. Murderous, re-roll. Now, we do want to add a couple extra sockets to this. So we're going to grab our sigils of socketing, put that in here. It gives us one extra socket. This means we should be able to put 3 full gems on this as well. I think attack speed is probably going to be a good upgrade. We'll put 2 of those, and then we'll put some lifesteal on there as well. Get this guy all socketed up. Soul looting is good to have, and then a max sweeping edge as well. And I think that should be everything. Put capturing on there. All right, those should be solid as far as enchants to put on this thing. And then I think we pretty much got a fully maxed out sword. And I kind of want to go test this out on something, but I'm just not entirely sure what. Okay, so there we have it. That is our ultimate in-game weapon that we ended up with. We have Sweeping Edge 7, Looting 8, Lifesteal 6, Decrepitude 12, Knowledge of the Ages, Frostbite 13, Soul Looting 7, Capturing 7, on top of all of our gems and affixes, and the fact that this thing does an infinite amount of attack damage. There may be some small ways to improve this with like different rolls for affixes and possibly some different gems or some different enchant combos. But I think overall, there shouldn't be a single thing that we can't one-shot. So let's give this a test. We're going to take it and we're going to go to the other, and we're going to try this on a piglich. Test number 1. Are we ready for this? Oh my goodness. Now I know there are some other things like some R spells and some things like that can one-shot, but it's just kind of cool finally having something that can. It also is neat that this thing has like such a high percentage chance of hitting so many other mobs in the vicinity. I'm not gonna lie, that was a lot harder and took so much more time than I expected it to take. But I mean, just look at that thing. It's beautiful. All right, well, there you have it. That is the best sword in all the mods 10. Does an infinite amount of damage as well as has a whole bunch of other perks. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It took a ridiculous amount of time to make and was a whole lot of research to figure out how to make that thing in the first place. If you have any questions or suggestions on how I could have done this better, or potentially what I could have looked at to figure out how to make this easier, please leave those in the comment section down below. I didn't feel like there was a whole ton of information on the quantum hole that I needed, or the fact that I had to have one of those quantum upgrades in order to even run the machine to create the upgrade. But aside from that, I hope this helps you create your own quantum sword and potentially helps you with some of the roadblocks you might hit along the way. But that's gonna do it for this video. Don't forget, you're special, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.